Hello and welcome to the Upper Deck. I'm Lynn, and I'm going to start with saying hello to Frank and FL Diver and Jonathan. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sure other people will flow in, and perhaps at some point I'll be joined by Donald Stewart again this week. And I want to start this morning with an announcement. So Chris has decided to step down from co-hosting the Upper Deck, um, and to move on to other things in her life that she needed to pay attention to. And so I just want to take this moment to thank Chris, who's been an outstanding partner since the beginning of this show. Um, and before that, when Tats and brought us into the fold, and we built this show together, and she remains not only a very good friend, but devoted to Pinstripe Chronicles and our partners and friends of Pinstripe Chronicles. And I just want to put out there that this show has meant a lot to her, and she gave a lot of time making it the best that it could be, for because, as we say, we're just fans and we're doing this for our fellow fans. So, and I'll make sure that Chris sees all these messages. I am sure she's going to be watching the show, if not live, then after. So thank you for your kind comments. And this, you won't be seeing the last of her. As you know, Chris writes for Inside the Diamonds, and she's going to be hopefully continuing to do that, and you'll still see her around the Twitter sphere. But in the meantime, you have me, you possibly have Donald Stewart, and this show is not going away. And the future of it is going to be looking just like it does already. So and I think I have Donald here. So Donald's going to join us. Hey, Donald, good morning.
Hey.
I was just telling everybody, I just announced that Chris has stepped down, and wishing her well. And so that's it, guys. And again, Chris, when you listen, just know how grateful we are. We've had many months of memorable shows, and just very grateful for being your partner for so long. The second announcement I want to make is about our friend Spencer. So Spencer continues to be at the hospital, having tests done. He is getting some answers, and he's so appreciative of all of the prayers and thoughts, and he has a whole crew of readers who make sure that he sees everything on Twitter, and in the chats on the Guy show, on this show. And he's very thankful. And so we'll continue to keep you updated. And if you follow Spencer on Twitter, you know that he's posting his own updates when he's able to. So, Spencer, my pledge to you is I'm going to wear a baseball cap on every show in your honor. And the other thing I'm going to continue to do is to try to follow your lead with the trivia question of the week. So here we go with this week's trivia question, guys. Putting it up on the screen. So there are several professional athletes who have played multiple sports before choosing one, but it is extremely unlikely that one could be as dominant at one as of the other. This NFL legend was that kind of athlete way back in 1981 when he was drafted by the Yankees. But after playing 42 games with a Yankees affiliate team, where he slashed a 318, 432, 464 line with 25 ribbies, he decided he preferred pigskin over diamonds. Name that player who quite possibly could have been enshrined in Cooperstown had he chosen a career with the Yankees.
When do we guess?
You can put your guesses in the chat, and I'll reveal at the end of the show. Donald, what's your guess?
Mm. Well, there's a couple that was really good baseball player that turned into football. I'm gonna go John Elway, but I was also thinking Deion Sanders because Deion Sanders was an excellent football player as well as
Ooh.
baseball player. But I think it's John Elway.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you that I'm not, Spencer. I'm not as tough as you are apparently, because everyone in the chat got it right and Donald got it right. So I guess I'm not as sneaky as I think I am. So
I just
I'll
want to say a big shout out to Chris. She's been such um, a big member of the Pinstripe Chronicles, and I wish her husband well and his health recovery, and uh, and I certainly hope that we see her again down the line soon. But in the meantime, we'll have to step up in her honor.
absolutely. And Donald, thank you for stepping up today, my friend. Um, and and yeah, a big miss right now for us. But like echoing Donald again, that we just wish her and her family all the best. And hey, salute Donnie, FJ. See you coming in while I was blabbing away. Maza, what's up? Good to see you. Hey, Joe. Hey, Frank. I think I got everyone else earlier. Um, so so yesterday, I want to go to yesterday before anything else. So Cortez, how worried are we, guys? Um, I know it's spring training. I know that they're not necessarily working pitches to get the stats. Perhaps he's just working pitches that he needs to work on, and apparently still does, if that's the case. Um, but is this any sort of banneker of Nestor not being entirely back to himself? The fact that 3.1 innings pitched, six earned runs, um, but six strikeouts, but an 8.10 ERA over those 3.1 innings. Again, small sample size, but are we worried about him? Are we going to resume the discussion about relegating him to the bullpen? What are your thoughts, Donald?
No good. I was actually getting that sign even before yesterday. I'm actually not surprised that yesterday happened because I was seeing signs in the starts which were apparently good. You know, where he wasn't giving up too many runs, but he was giving up a lot of hits, and he was giving up a lot of loud hits too that were staying in the yard. But like for instance, that the hanging cutter that he left in the middle of the plate to start before the last one, and it was launched into the stratosphere. Um, and that's what flagged to me. His first start, he gave up a lot of hits, but he got away with it. So I was actually seeing these signs. I'm thinking that there's a bunch of things here. One of which I do think that the league has video on him now. I think they've got tape on him. I think that they're pretty much on his cutter. His cutter has to be absolutely pinpoint location. If he leaves that
Yeah,
cutter up, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. No
right,
questions asked. Because he just doesn't have any elite pitches. None of his pitches are elite. They're all okay, but none of them are elite. And that means that his location has to be absolutely perfect. It hasn't been perfect. It wasn't good last year. It's not good this year. So there's that issue. There's the shoulder issue, obviously, and then there's obviously the fact that he was hurt, and he's still working himself back. So there's that too. And then of course, I really think that the pitch clock has something to do with it because all the time that he had to do all the arm angles and the different wind ups and the way that he used to keep hitters off balance, that timing isn't there anymore. He's got to pretty much just, and I don't think he's that type of pitcher. So I'm quite skeptical about Nestor Cortez. I'm not sure where he best fits. In my honest opinion, I think Brian Cashman needs to be on the phone working some deals here. I wouldn't waste too much time on Nestor Cortez. I don't feel great about him. Uh, you'll start the year, but I don't feel great about this situation. If there was one pitcher who um, didn't really have time to try different pitches and try different things, as you were saying, because that's what most starters do at this stage.
Right.
If there was one guy that couldn't really get away with that, it's Nestor. I think Nestor really needed to have a strong spring in order for us to feel positive about him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not feeling it right now. I'm quite concerned. Quite
Yeah.
concerned about pitching in general, actually.
You're concerned about pitching in general. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not really
Yep.
that impressed by it, apart from obviously Stroman and Garrett Cole. Um, there's some bullpen arms that haven't done as well as I hoped they would do, and
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit nonplussed.
Not only are there our bullpen arms that we're not sure how they're going to do, we also don't have Efros and Trevino until late in the summer, some point.
Yeah,
Canely, isn't going to be ready for opening day, but maybe we'll see him in the Bronx. But again, he's another one returning,
yeah.
and not getting anything out of spring training. So what's that really going to do for us? Will be up to like it'll be a mystery until then. And and in terms of what you're saying about the rotation itself, I'm wondering because let's just pivot real fast to Rodon because he's another concern as far as I'm concerned. Not exactly seeing what we would want to see. And so it's interesting. What does that do to the rotation? Well, knowing that, to me, Stroman has had an excellent spring training. And is looking really good and by all accounts, is like, I've had to eat a lot of crow. I've had to put a lot of barbecue sauce over it because it tastes nasty, but I've done it. And now I'm Team Stroman all the way. Are we looking at switching up the rotation a bit and moving perhaps Stroman to number two if this keeps up? We can't relegate both Rodon and Cortez to the pen, or other unless we're gonna bring up Weaver and Warren or something like that.
I'm less worried about how the rotation lines up at the start of the year because there's going to be off days and things like that. You're going to see the best pitchers pitch more often than not. So I think Stroman is one of them. Stroman's been fantastic. Absolutely delighted with Stroman. He looks fantastic. He looks ready to go. It looks like he's born to be a Yankee. So that's a great sign. Back to Rodon. Well, you know what? I'm less concerned about him than I am Nestor because Rodon we know has the stuff. We know that. We know he's got the stuff. But he didn't have a good start last start. But he wasn't overly concerned, so that's okay. I need to see another couple more starts from Rodon. He wasn't great at all, but it was only when things started to go pear shaped for him as that start wore on. Once he got into the fourth inning, that's when he got hit with a double and a home run. So I'm thinking that it's just a case of just building up his stamina a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm not overly worried about that. I think Rodon's going to be okay. But yeah, Cortez is a real worry. Schmidt, I'm not worried about. He's good. Stroh, good. Cole, good. So that's two spots in the rotation. Rodon, I think he's going to be okay. So that it's just really down to Nestor. Who steps up in his spot? Well, maybe be Will Warren. I don't think Heel's going to be ready to start. So maybe Will Warren can maybe get a little bit more of a look. Jared Weaver. What did you think of Weaver so far?
I like Weaver.
Okay.
I think his last outing not so much. But I think he has the potential. But what about Hampton? What about Beater?
Hampton isn't ready yet. He's still going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
He's going to start in AAA.
Hmm.
Beater, I see bullpen in Beater, but Beater's been great. Um, yeah, let's pick up on FL Diver's point here. Donald, I'm not sure if Rodon is good. I know he's working on pitches, but velo is a concern. 4 count breaks. I would like to see some 97, 90. Yes, you see, that was the last start did flag to me that he was only hitting 92, 93. That scared me a little bit, but the start before his velo was up. So I think that he was working on pitches. I think he was working on a few off speed pitches and things like that. So I'm not going to look too deeply into that just yet, but it's a really good point because you're not going to see an effect of Rodon unless he gets that velo up. So um, let's see. Let's say he if he hits regularly 97, 98 going into the start of the season, then I'll be okay. If he's still in that range of between 92 and 95, I'm a little bit concerned.
Hmm. Yeah. And so Maz is asking us, and Maz, we kind of just touched on this lightly. If we could see Stroman at the number two, I for one, yeah, I absolutely could if we had to. And Donald, I think you just said that it's too soon to like worry about moving Rodon down a spot. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
early for that, but we know for a fact that the front three is definitely Cole, Stroman, Rodon, whichever order you want. Rodon is certainly up to yourself, but I just think that going into April, there's going to be off days and things like that. It's not going to matter all that much.
Right.
Uh, the but you're going to see that transpire as the season goes on. The whichever order. So if Stroman continues to outpitch Rodon, then yeah, you'll see him as the number two starter, barring any moves for a Dylan Cease or maybe Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, somebody mentioned up above that, yeah, so Snell is floating back around, and so's Monty, but and Cease I haven't heard so much about, but everyone's still pretty oh, my bad. That was you're right, FLD, that was NFE. Sorry about that, not Maza. Sorry, NFE. um
Poor
yeah,
NFE.
there's my Sunday brain.
You're
You get at
disrespecting my
least.
brother. You're disrespecting my brother.
No, I'm not. I am old and I'm undercaffeinated. It's early for me, um, even though it's almost noon. I'm not a morning person. I do this every show, so it's on you today, NFE, and I'm sorry. Um, so wow, it's good to have all these editors in the chat, correcting me. I appreciate it. Never want to offend. And so yeah, it's Weaver's fine as I'm going back to I don't want to say the wrong name now. Someone said a few minutes ago that Weaver would be good as a sixth man. But that sixth man could easily become the fifth man if Nestor, moves to the back of the yard. So we'll have to see. But and now I made him cry. Now I made NFE cry. No. So anyway, I'm just worried about pitching overall, like you said a few minutes ago, Donald. And um, a few weeks ago, I was feeling pretty damn good about the pitching. I don't know who that girl was, but here we are. So one last question about sort of what's going on in spring training right now. I'd love to know. I think you kind of tipped your hand a little bit on this already, Donald, but of all the new acquisitions, including the prospects that we've been seeing during spring training, what's been the best surprise for you? Who's been the best surprise and why?
Well, there's a ton, but it's a different. There's obviously different expectations for each one. So um, if you're asking like who, like for instance, which prospects have stood out to me is different than the newest acquisitions. Like for instance, I think Strowman has been the biggest surprise for me in terms of acquisitions. He's been fantastic. In terms of um, other acquisitions, I love the Vivas deal. I think he's going to be a big part of our future.
Yep.
Um, he stood out to me, but he's a little bit down the line. So it depends on the expectations that you have for each. So like um, which one are you referring to? Are you referring to more like the ones like Strowman?
I said the prospects or the guys on the 40 man, 26 man. I should have put it that
Okay.
way.
Well, I mean, I would say in terms of yeah, I'd say the bullpen. I think Birdie has been fantastic, and Brad agrees with that. Yeah, he's really been phenomenal. His stuff is crazy. Just put him in the pen. Just get him in there. Like job done. Like excellent.
Yeah.
Been very very surprised and positively about Beater. I think Beater's is going to have a really good future here. That was a great deal. He looks nice. Um, Poteet looks excellent. He looks excellent too. He looks like he's going to be a big part of our bullpen. I could totally see Poteet being one of possibly doing in the Mike King role. I could see him being the Mike King role. It's the multiple innings, big inning kind of guy that comes in and either takes out takes out the fires or actually helps us get to our setup man. So I could see him being one of those major arms in the bullpen right now. And yeah, I think Birdie as well. So I would say those guys. And my Twitter handle is at dstewart267.
I'm typing it in for you. Whoop. If I could hit the shift key, that would be great.
Yeah, so those are the names that have stood out to me on the early side.
Yeah.
Definitely think Kuti deserves a special mention.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, um, in terms of 40 man, 26 man, the starters, let me just say that much. I'm going to say it again. Stroman. I really did not have a high opinion of Stroman, both objectively and subjectively. Um, to me, he's the full package, and that became so clear so quickly to me. I think he's, good energy for the team. I think he is balancing out the hubris we know he has with some, humility and, eagerness to learn and soak it all in. And it's proving out on the hill so far. So, and I'm more and more grateful for him as I watch Nestor, tank on every outing. And I'm happy to see that you have somebody who could be king like, because I think we're gonna need those long stretch relievers, because Rodon is not going to go far until he's fully stretched out, and Nestor, if he's there, we know what his duration has been. So um, but yeah, I'm laying down on Stroman, and in terms of the guys that are, still not on the 40 man, I'm a Spencer Jones girl. I'm very excited about Spencer Jones, and I think that, yeah, we have a wealth of outfielders, but who knows when there's going to be a lot of withdrawals from that 401k. I'd be excited to have him come up,
Yeah, no,
or
he's blown me away. He's blown me away.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
his
So
at bats are actually perfection, and at his age, it's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy that at his young age, like his at bats have been perfection. He never swings and misses. Um,
yeah.
he's
Um,
got a really good coverage of the strike zone, um, and he's got excellent power to all fields. He's hitting doubles down the left field line, down the right field line, left center, right center, and he's got power
Yeah.
everywhere. I love Spencer Jones, and he's got really good speed and ability to track every ball down in center field.
Yeah.
Um, he's not far away. He's not far away at all.
No.
Like
And
there's a potential September call up for him, and I think he's ready for starting next year. I think he's probably ready.
yep. Yep. And with his height, because he's a long, lanky guy. That speed's even more impressive, and those long legs are going to give him easy coverage in center field, as we've seen. So, yeah, that I see a Jersey purchase or even a Jersey throwdown purchase from my account, not too far away. So, so Donnie in the chat there, talked about something that was already on my mind to discuss today, and it has to do with the farming system. Because I caught an article on MLB.com about the farm and which teams had the best farms in rank order. So, Donald, I don't know if you saw the article or not, but
No,
where would you think the Yankees ranked across MLB on the farm?
well, across MLB, I believe the Yankees are rated around about 11th.
Yeah, and you didn't even read the article.
Yeah,
Woo. Okay. Yep.
yeah, I believe they're rated 11th. My personal opinion, I think that I think they're about 6 or 7. I think they're actually higher than that, in my opinion. I'd put them above the Dodgers. Um, the Orioles, no question. Cubs, no question. Brewers are pretty deep. Padres, Tigers, Rays, definitely could see that. Pirates always produce talent. I think the Yankees should be a little higher. If you look at the fact that they've got Jason Dominguez, who is pretty much ready to be an everyday outfielder, Spencer Jones, who's about 6 months away from being an everyday outfielder, uh, I think that's a big part of it. You've got Volpe, who's our everyday shortstop. Wells is pretty much should be our well, not everyday catcher, but the starting catcher. Um, that's that's I mean that's half our team I've just listed that are prospects that could step in and be everyday contributors. Um, and then you still got some decent arms pitching wise. I think that in my opinion, so many publications have them ranked 7. In my opinion, I agree with that. I would say 6 or 7. I've said that from the start, so I'll stick with that. I think that they're much better than given credit for. And Brian Cashman, if there's one thing that he has absolutely excelled at the last couple of years, it's been creating pitching, finding bullpen arms out of the scrap heap, and making them big time contributors. That's a big thing, but also just really making this farm system really productive.
Yep.
I'm not concerned about catcher. I'm not concerned about outfield. I'm not concerned about infield. That's amazing. And we could just fill that out with our prospects. That is a massive, massive, massive salute to Brian Cashman. And and you know what's cool is when Brian Cashman did the ESPN telecast when he was on, he gave a lot of credit to Oppenheimer and the other scouts and chief scouts that work in the to develop our minor league system. He gave a lot of credit to them, so I echo those sentiments as well. So I think the Yankees, in my opinion, should be about 6, 7, whatever order you want. But I definitely don't think they're 11. I think they're much higher than that.
Yep. And so taking a look at those rankings, it makes it you see the big difference between the midseason rank for 22 at 12 and then the 23 midseason rank for 21. I think that's entirely about the lousy, um if you wanted to pick a lousier midseason, it would be last year by a long shot. So, and then, yep. So I'm wondering if there's any comment on that before we move on. But
I just think that. I'm amazed that they are rated as low as 11. Um, Considering what is their expectations? My expectations would be that you have productive major league caliber players that are available to step in within this 12 months window of this season, for the 2024 season, that there are players that are triple A, double A that can step in and be major league caliber. Um, I've just listed five right off the top of my head. So, like, what are their expectations? Isn't that's what I would put in order to rank them? So that's why I think the Yankees should be higher than
Yep.
11. I
Yep.
don't think I don't think other teams have that. The Dodgers don't have that, and you're never going to see the Dodgers use their farm system. Well, when they're putting that kind of money into Otani and all their superstar lineup, you're not going to see much of their farm system.
No, those
They're
crops are going to wither away
going to be
unless they.
traded away, and the
Yeah.
Yankees got a couple off them. So, like,
Yep.
I don't understand. Like, uh, I do think that they're a little rough on the Yankees there.
Yeah. They explained, their metrics and how they got to it, but I agree with everybody, and that I was surprised. I knew that I'd be seeing them in the top 10. But I didn't. So I don't think that there was a very fair method that they used. And
Well, what is the
especially,
method that they explained?
well, let me see if I have it captured here. Um, yeah, I'd have to go back to the article and share it, which I don't have in front of me. There were a variety of variables that went into it. But yeah, sorry, don't have that to spit out of my mouth right now.
Well said,
Um,
Joe. Did the Dodgers fix the cement where Judge got hurt?
they probably had one of their prospects come up and take care of it because they're not doing anything else, Joe.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Why don't you use some of those prospects that they don't use? Fix that wall.
Yeah, hey, come on, can you fix that fence over there? Um, yeah, and I mean, especially to your point, Donald, especially considering that, you know, knowing that four out of our five top prospects were in the top 100 top prospects
Boom.
for MLB, right? I mean, between Dominguez, Jones, Arias, and Hampton, they were all in the top 100. So, you would have thought that that would weigh in, fairly heavily. But and something else I picked up on during the week is of these prospects who had the biggest jumps in their performance and who had their biggest fails. So
Ooh.
yeah, it's a little juicy, isn't it? So from the 23 preseason list to the 24 preseason list is what this context is here. So the biggest jump are for Chase Hampton and Henry Lillane. And Hampton is yet another Yankees mid-round pitching find who owns four solid or better and pitches, and Lane is only 19, but already features one of the best combinations of stuff and polish in the system. So that was the same guys that this all in the same article. So, big jump there. And the biggest fail, and I think I'm not going to be prejudicial here. I'll let everyone say their own responses. Um, the biggest fall is Louis Heel. Because in that he only had 4 innings in single A last year. And that's after Tommy John in 22. So
I mean,
he's fallen from,
I get it, but
number 16 to
I
right.
get it, but if you get Tommy John, like, how can he be blamed for that? You know what I mean? It's like it happens. He looks good since coming back, so there's something that you should bear in mind. If, in my opinion, you could argue Peraza because because he was supposed to be ready to be our shortstop, then lost the job for poor spring training last year. Um, didn't perform great when he got the opportunity for large portions of last year. Started spring off bad and then got hurt. So you could make that argument that maybe Peraza, he'll. I don't know. I think he's gonna be a big contributor. You could see him being a contributor this year, actually.
Yeah, and I think they're you're not the only one saying that from what I've heard and seen this week. I found that to be a little bit of a surprise that they're calling him the one with the biggest fall from last preseason to this. And to blame it on surgery, blame it on somebody who's, had a tough recovery from surgery and Tommy John
Yeah.
at that. Yeah, so all right, phooey on that article. Let's just throw that in the garbage. Um,
Let's throw it in the garbage.
we have decided I'm gonna write those three guys that wrote that article. Should I name them so we could all write them and say what a pile of rubbish? We're the experts here, and they should have been at least at 6 or 7. Um, so
I've got
so
a question for you and for the
yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Is our utility infielder slash backup shortstop outside the organization?
Ooh, that's interesting. Well,
To the chat, to my brother from another rubber mother, Rob, do you agree or where? Are we going to use Oswaldo Cabrera or are we going to have to look elsewhere because we're not going to see Parada until you'll be lucky to see him before June?
and that's exactly where I was gonna go. I know I'm not your brother from another mother.
Yeah.
But I would definitely agree. Peraza, and do we really have all of the info we would need to like consider him the utility guy for the team? I say no, and this injury history to boot, absolutely nuts. That's already pointing outside the club. And so and second of all, Cabrera, in the minorish kind of ways that he has, done a little bit of switching positions, he has not been productive around the board.
No,
And he's just been a really big disappointment. And I don't consider him on the bubble. I consider him in the center of the bubble. And I think, like, he's going to be the next part of the next package. I just don't think he's the guy that we could count on. So that was a really long answer to yes, we'd have to look outside.
I
And it's
agree. I
another
think we have to
position
look
we're
out.
looking
I
for.
think we have to look outside. I like Vivas a lot.
He's too
I
young.
see Vivas as a second baseman slash third baseman. I don't see him necessarily as a backup shortstop. Um,
Right.
in my
And
opinion,
plus he's kind of young for
he
that
is young.
already.
He is young.
Yeah. But
There you go. So Brad's agrees with me there. So he's a second baseman. He can play third, but he doesn't have a strong arm at third. I agree with that. I'm not sure. He doesn't have the arm for shortstop, in my opinion. I think we have to look outside the organization. We love Waldo, but I'm sorry, it's a little bit. Where's Waldo right now? Because
yeah.
dude can't hit. He's not even hitting in spring. He's had one hit all spring. He's 1 for 23 so far in the Grapefruit League. That's it's not going to get it done. He's not earned it. So I think we have to look elsewhere, and we have to look elsewhere fairly fast, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
the games are coming in thick and fast. Regular season is in what 20 days or something like that. So it's pretty soon. I think you'll. I think Brian Cashman will be in the market for people who get released. Maybe teams that aren't contending will maybe release a good infielder, maybe on a bigger contract, because they want to maybe give their prospects a look instead, and then maybe we jump on that. But yeah, maybe Tony was right. Should have signed Gio when he had the chance. Yeah, god damn it.
I know. I had a lot of FOMO, like seeing him during the week. Um, but so let me ask you this, Donald. Are there any top prospects or guys that we're liking so far that could be molded into a utility guy? with some work down in the system that you could think of?
Well,
So
not immediately ready, because we know that Arias is going to be a big part of our future. He's, he's locked in as a big part of our future, but he's not ready yet.
right.
So, immediately ready to step in. The only one I can think of is Vivas, but he's not a shortstop. He's a second baseman slash third baseman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. So
Right.
really, that's why I think we have to look outside the
Right.
organization. I mean, we've given guys like Jeter Downs a shot. He's been okay. Smith, I haven't seen anything from him, but I quite like Jeter Downs, but I don't see him as being the utility infielder. It's an
Right.
issue. It's an
Right.
issue.
It was an issue.
That Peraza injury is an issue. It's not good.
But my question was with some time, could they be molded into a utility player? So I'm thinking about guys like Mayea, and here's why.
Okay.
So some other info I pulled was about of like the prospects who has the best tools at different categories, and Maia hit three of them. So um, he was listed as one of the guys with the best tools under Vivas and Delgado. He came in third for hitting. He was the only one flagged for run speed, which is categorized as well above average. And his
Okay.
defense, he's right. He's number two to Arraez. So, and Arraez is in none of these categories, which, by the way, were hitting, power, run speed, arm, defense, fastball, curve, slider, change, and control. So obviously, those last are for pitchers. So that was kind of impressive about Maya, and so I'm kind of wondering because that's kind of where I think we are at this stage of the game is while we're trying to find that utility guy, which I agree, we got to get in. It's another need. Now, all of a sudden, our needs column looks heavier than our "oh, we're stacked and ready" column.
Yeah.
Making me a little nervous this late in the stage here. But and let them start now. We're starting to slowly drip guys back down, to camp, out of camp and down. Get that pool of people that could be ready, guys that could be ready for the utility, and start molding them that way if that could be done. So we're already talking about Arraez and possibly
I'm worried
Maya.
about pigeonholing anyone right now, but it's a good name that you brought up. But I don't know if he's immediately ready though. Or I'm looking at
No, no,
immediately ready.
would need to mold it into that. Yeah,
Yeah. So
100%. No, I'm not
molding,
saying ready.
molding kind of. I don't want to pigeonhole anyone into that. So I'm not sure if we've even done any favors to Oswaldo Cabrera for the fact that we've moved him to every single position because his hitting has really fallen off a cliff. So
Yeah, well, I wish we had numbers on the guys on the roster right now that like these that would tell the tale. And I don't know if he looked this good as Maea looks right now before Cabrera was called up, but
mm,
I just thought that was an interesting set of data to get that I just like grabbed. And so in terms of the pitching, in case you're interested, um number one on fastball was Carlos Lagrange, ranked as well above average. um and then for the curve, we got in the mid average category, Hampton, and behind him are Beater, Messenger, and Vrailing. Um,
yeah, for sure.
and then slider, the only guy in the slider category is Neely, and at the well above average level. Um, and Lane, who I just mentioned a while ago.
We like
Um,
Lillian.
hmm?
We like Lillian for
Yeah,
sure.
we like Lane. He's the standout for the change up at a
Hmm.
mid average ranking. And for control, we have Selvage and Lane again.
Yeah,
So
Lillian's going to prop up in a lot of our best prospect lists, in my opinion.
yeah,
It's got a
yeah,
lot to be excited about. Um, Beater, I love Beater. I think Beater's. I think he's ready to be our bullpen arm right now.
Yeah. Well, let's get him in there because he's ranking high in curves. So in the curveball. So
Yeah,
and then
agree.
for switching back to hitting. Oh, switch hitting. Anyway. In the power category, Dominguez, duh, is like the top ranked. And then right behind him, Spencer Jones. So it's another vote. I think it's a unanimous vote on, Jones ASAP.
I
So
know. I'm not. Yeah, I think Jones is probably a future. I don't know where Jones is going to be our future because Rizzo's gonna he's gonna ball out this year. I feel great about Rizzo. So that's the only spot I could think of is first base if he was to start the team next year. Otherwise, Aaron Judge is going to have center field covered because I really think that Soto's going to be extended and he's going to
mhm.
cover. Well, maybe what will happen is maybe he covers left. Sorry, Soto covers left, Judge covers right, and then maybe that opens up the door for Spencer Jones to be in center field. But then that opens up the question of what about Dominguez?
Right.
So good questions, good problems,
Yeah,
really
good
good
pro
problems to
yeah,
have.
so at least those are good problems to have as to the ones that we know are our problems and not so great to have.
Yeah,
We have different
good
holes.
problems, really good problems to have. But immediate problems, fifth starter, which I've been saying since day dot, and I'm absolutely assured of now with the way that Cortez has been stinking up the joint. Um, so we definitely need a fifth starter. We definitely need a utility infielder. Uh, I would say fairly quickly. In fact, probably before April.
Hmm, okay. And William, hey, thanks for joining us today. William thinks that we'll see Greg Allen before we see Jones, knowing how the Yankees think.
Well, maybe they just want to give Jones everyday at bats, and they don't want him to sit on the bench and then wait once a week to get an opportunity. I mean, that's a no brainer. I don't have an issue with that
Yeah,
as long
and
as they have a plan for him, and they do because he's so freaking good. He's mind blowingly good. So
yeah,
he's gonna be a big part of what we're
yeah,
doing next year. I'm sure of that.
yeah.
So
Maybe,
that's someone
maybe
to keep an eye out on. And hey, it gives us an opportunity when you guys have an opportunity. Go down to some of these minor league games, whether he's in Double A or Triple A. Go catch these games.
I really have to dedicate myself to doing that because I have no excuse. I'm right outside the Bronx. I could get up to, Hudson Valley in an hour and a half. I could get down to Somerset in the same
Somerset.
amount of time. Yeah.
Somerset's a really nice
I
park.
know Renegades aren't the same, but I'm just saying.
Somerset's a really nice park. I really like that park.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
nice,
I've heard
got
good
a
things.
really nice setup there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to get a field trip together for that because you're absolutely right, and it would be a good thing to report back to on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, so the look ahead for this week, and Donald, I'm sure you guys are going to be talking about this during the week too, is that next weekend is the spring breakout game starting, right? And we're facing the Jays next Saturday.
Okay.
So you know, so in terms of who's on the, you could go on the Yankees website and see, who's going to be playing during the breakout game. I don't know how they're going to squeeze this number of players in 9 innings, so I'm not even going to read the list. But obviously all the top prospects. It's all the ones in the MLB rankings for the most part. The only ones that were not ranked in the top 100 that are supposed to play are Durbin, Rodriguez, Rumfield, and Tejeda. Um, Jesus Rodriguez is listed as a utility guy. Um, I have no
Okay.
intel on him. Um, And then for outfielders, the only one that is not in the prospects list is Avina, Chase Avina for outfield. So the rest are all the names that you would expect if you know the prospect rankings. So
I assume
um,
Rice will be involved. Is Rice going to be there?
So, yep, Rice is, yep, because he's the number 13 prospect. He's there. Now, they have to update this. I got this yesterday, and this morning I just read about Augustin Ramirez. He's injured now because he was going to also be playing the
Okay.
breakout game next weekend, so he's out. And the other one is Rafael Flores, um, who is NR, not so he's not ranked. So, and I
Okay.
have nothing. I haven't even entertained the name Rafael Flores. So, pitching, deep for the breakout game. There's that. Between Hampton, Warren, Lane, Selvage, Carr, Lagrange, and Neely, all of those guys I just mentioned, as far as
Right, Joe.
noted with best tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Um, yeah. So pitching is full. Infielders list is bigger than an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, literally, and and the outfielders, or the outfielders are Jones, Pereira, Cruz, Hall, and Avina, which I think is
Okay.
Nicole. Yeah.
Who
So
do you think is going to be our third catcher?
I think it's going to be Rice.
Okay. Yeah. So like, because we don't know if Trevino's going to be ready. We're going to see him like
Uh,
fairly soon, but
Today,
right, that's good.
I'm
Okay, that's
putting
good.
today's roster up
Do you think
next.
he's going to be ready? Because he's not played by a wall. Do you think he's going to be ready to start the year beside Wells?
No, nope, I don't think so. Um, so I mean, I guess that we'll get a tiny little idea today, seeing him behind the plate.
So do
But
you think that Rice will be ready to step in as our third catcher in case Trevino isn't ready or any
I
scenario similar to that?
I think this points to that, your point about, we're not deep enough with our catchers in the farm.
Well,
Because
actually, no, the Yankees
well,
have
we have
a lot of
Rortvet. I'm
depth.
sorry, we have Rortvet.
I don't like him.
Um, yeah.
The Yankees have tons of depth. They've got like 5 or 6
Oh,
catchers
then
that could
I misunderstood you. But in
like
terms of
Narvaez has been excellent.
where is he in the farm, Donald?
Well,
You know?
Narvaez has been is probably more of I would say, can you say a slow, quote unquote veteran? It's just
Okay.
he's experienced, but
Mhm.
I think he's been fantastic. Been really
Yeah.
impressed with him. Yankees have too many catchers. Yeah, I think they actually just got a ton. They got a ton of good ones. The only one that I don't really like is Nordvet, and he's probably the most likely.
He is probably the most likely. My preference would be Rice over Rortvet. Hmm. I don't know why
Hmm.
I'm losing my voice. But,
Rice, I could see being moved to first base.
he's another one I was thinking of when we were talking about Jones a little while ago.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah, Donnie. Yankees have tons of catchers. Who do you guys in
yeah,
the
I
chat
thought so
like
too.
as
And
our
I mean,
third catcher? Do you guys think it's going to be Rorvet or do you think it's going to be someone else? I'd maybe consider Narvaez in that spot. He's been hitting really well.
how is he behind the plate, do you feel?
Better. He's getting better. Maybe not at Rorvet's level of defense, but he's definitely been getting better.
So it's which do you pick, right? Do you pick the hitter or the defender that
Um,
you're looking at?
I don't think he's a bad enough defender for that to be an issue because he's that much better offensively.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll be
Rordvet
interesting.
doesn't have Rordvet doesn't have options left. Yeah. After
Oh,
that play where Rordvet let those runs score and he just stared into the abyss,
oh my God.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. That was enough to see, right? Um, so let's talk about today's lineup real fast, before we start to close out. And of course, I have my women highlight of the week for us. Let's do this right now. I'll put it up. I gotta say, Yankees PR is on the ball this preseason. Like, I remember waiting until game time for the friggin' roster to be up, but Anyway, so here's who we got. We basically the only one missing at quick glance is Volpe. Um, they're putting Cabrera in, and we're going to see Schmidt.
Good,
So,
good, good,
and
good. So
yep,
there's
and
Cabrera. We'll see how he does for
yep.
sure.
Hmm.
Verdugo. Verdugo's had a slow spring. Stan looks terrible. Um, so we hope to see him do a little better.
Yeah, I have to agree. Breaks my heart. I have to agree.
Torres looks good. Rizzo looks phenomenal. Judge Soto excellent. LeMahieu had a couple of big hits, so it looks like he's starting to come around. Very worried about Stan. Stan is just he looks bad. He looks legitimately bad.
He does look legitimately bad, and I rib Rob all the time when he, names people, and I, say, but you didn't say Stanton because I want him to succeed. The man works so damn hard
I
all off
know.
season, and it shows. And it's just I just feel for the guy.
What could it
Um,
possibly be? I don't know because like uh, last year he was built like a Greek statue, right? Like he had the power of Zeus and Thor, and he just couldn't hit a fastball. So this year he's made himself more agile and he looks so much better. But
yes,
still, he's slow on that fastball. He always is underneath pitches constantly, and his hip. It's so obvious his hip is way out in front, and it affects his swing, and he just doesn't look. His swing doesn't look balanced, and
yeah,
he leaves himself susceptible to getting done with pitches low and away. And I don't know unless the fastball is right down Broadway, he's not hitting anything. Unless he's got a pitch right down Broadway, I
no,
don't know what he's going to hit because it looks like we've got a major Stanton issue, and I'm very upset about it because I blame myself because um, the last NYYU event, I went to Yankee Stadium and bought myself a Stanton jersey. It's like $130, but I was like, it's worth it. This man's an all-star. He's the best. Dude hasn't hit since. He hasn't hit since. So I apologize in advance. Uh, it's my fault. Now I really don't know what it is because I love Big G, but Big G has been Little G for a long time now.
yeah, 100%. He might as well go back to being Mike Stanton, and go into witness protection at this point because even when he's made contact, it has not been any form of power whatsoever. And I distinctly remember at the end of last season when they interviewed him after the last game, that he didn't think he needed to tweak his hitting. He thinks he just needs a few little tweaks. But other than that, his hitting was okay. So,
You know,
I just
he's moving better. He looks like he's better in the outfield.
oh,
He's still got a nice
that
arm and play. He
the
looks so much
loss,
better.
yeah, the muscle mass reduction and
Yeah.
has really helped him with that. No more,
He's moving to first so much better. He's no longer walking to first base. He's actually got a strong jog, which is a massive improvement.
yep,
Um,
yep,
but he's still late in those fastballs.
yep.
And
I know.
you're not a major leaguer if you can't hit a fastball. So
Yep.
this is Stanton's last chance. If he has a bad year this year, he's gone next year. They're going to buy him out 100%.
Yeah, that's what William was asking earlier, is that, or saying earlier that they need to get rid of him one way or another next year. And I was going to ask that actually is, it was not going to be worth the money, but maybe it just be, or maybe the right opportunity will come up. But just like Sevy, it just hurts me in that kind of way
Yeah,
because these are two guys that are so self-accountable and always thinking and working about improving, and it's just not happening for them, and that just makes me sad.
I know. But there's still time. He's still
Yep,
got 3 weeks to start squaring up on fastballs before the start of the year. So maybe he's still working himself back. And
yep, yep.
as I say, it doesn't. I'm not overly worried about results because I can't remember the last time the Yankees have won a spring training game. It's been like 2 weeks for God's sake, but I'm not overly worried about the results. I'm not even worried about the results of like, for instance, Stanton and all that stuff. It's just the quality of the swing, and I'm not seeing it yet. If we can get his quality of his swing, regardless of results, if he's getting loud flyouts, deep center, then I'd feel better about it, you know.
Right.
But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
have
see
some
what
sacrifice flies, get some guys
just
in, build up some
legit
sacrifice.
squaring up on balls, even if it's a really unfortunate lineup or or a deep fly out. I don't care as long as you're making good contact. But you're not seeing it right now. He's you're constantly seeing balls being popped up because he's just a little out in front.
Yep. And if he really fair point, that they have a new this is their third hitting coach in the past year.
True.
Let's just hope that third time's the charm. And we could see some um some effect of Rawson as opposed to the past two.
I have
Um,
been seeing an effect.
yeah.
It's the at bats are better. It's just him. Stanton's the problem. He's not been doing well, but everyone else I've been very impressed with
Oh,
their.
everyone else, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
absolutely.
I'm still I'm still Giancarlo focused.
Oh, of course, I love Big G. It's just he's not been great, but you're seeing LeMahieu looks so much better. Rizzo looks unstoppable. We know what Soto and Judge are, so that's not an issue.
Yeah.
Volpe is better at bats, so we've got a lot to be excited about. But I am concerned about Stanton because it's still a big part of this team.
Yeah, and so I think the two kids that have to stay out of school with Rawson are Cabrera and Stanton.
Yeah,
Um,
and I
you
agree with
know,
that, Val. Here, I don't think the
yeah.
new head coach has anything to achieve. That's in the ball exactly.
Well, FL Diver up above because FL Diver is also the guy that said maybe it's as simple as glasses, and I don't think he was being funny. you know, maybe he literally maybe a little funny. It is funny.
Some contacts. Maybe we need
you
some
know,
contacts. Yeah.
literally can't see. So all right, so as I did last week, I want to end the show during March because it's Women's History Month, and I want to highlight another player as I want to do for the next two shows as well. And today's player in history is Shirley Hustle Berkovich. um and Shirley was another member of the All American Girls Baseball League, who then, after she retired in 1951, baseball continued to be her lifelong passion, and it led her to working with women and girls across the nation, and even getting involved on an international basis, promoting women in baseball. So she was with the Rockford Peaches. Yes, the same Rockford Peaches that we talked about. League of Their Own. There's a tie-in for the same reference from last week here. Um, but she was an all-star in the AAGPL, and talk about utility players. Too bad Shirley is no longer with us, and because she was this is her quote. I guess you would call it a utility player. I played infield, outfield, so I kind of filled the hole anywhere where it was needed. Right field, left field, center field, and I played all the infield positions. So that tells you alone about her prowess as a player.
Sounds like
Um,
Oswaldo Cabrera.
yeah, yeah. A well functioning
A
Cabrera.
well functioning one.
And then when Shirley retired, as I said, she never stopped being an advocate for women and girls in baseball. And she became a founder of the International Women's Baseball Center, which is located actually in um, in Rockford, Illinois, home of the Rockford Peaches. And so they are responsible for the World Baseball Cup, that's been played the past few years, and so she's really just dedicated her life to advocating. And her nickname was Hustle because that was what she said to her teammates to get them motivated if they were slagging. It's what she says on the field when she's doing sessions with young girls, and so that's her nickname that stuck with her. And unfortunately, we lost her at the age of 89 in 2022. And I'm just going to share a picture so that she becomes real for everybody. And she's one of the most beloved players from AAGPL. And so here she is. And this is a clip from an article where it says, here are some of the championship AAGPL team, the Rockford Peaches signing autographs on balls. And there she is. And she also was one of the cameos in A League of Their Own. Um, and
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
and so if you want to do a little comparison, because the picture I got didn't do left to right. I was really pissed about that. I do believe it's the one I'm circling here. And here she was. This is a recent picture before she passed away
Oh, God bless her.
at one of the events that she was doing for girls. Um, so I'm pretty sure if you look, pretty sure. But she's in this group of ladies here in the movie as well. So Donald, before we go, did you do your homework? Did you watch the movie? It's okay if you say no.
I forgot. I've been so busy watching all the Yankee spring training games, but I've
Okay.
got some time to do it tonight. So
No, it's not really homework.
let
Just
me
curious.
let me get on that. But while um, while you have me for something, guys, when you're watching this, hit the sub button for my girl Lynn here, because who else has Women's History Month in baseball? Who else has that? Very, very few. So y'all who are watching, hit the sub button for Lynn and for ourselves as well, Pinstripe Chronicles. So that would be good too. We're on our climb up to 600. We're really, really close. So let's hit the 600 sub mark and give a big salute to Lynn. Flying the flag for women podcasts in baseball.
Yeah, thank you so much, Donald. And we're so close to 600. It's like crawling across the desert and seeing a mirage. That's how close we are. We are thirsty. We're crawling across the sand. So get us that
No
drink.
water
Get
left.
us
I'm
that
so
drink
thirsty.
of water. And so, Donald, thank you so much for being a tremendous co-host. 2 weeks in a row now. Tip the cap to you.
Salute
Salute
anytime.
your usual salute to you. Chat, awesome and so great as always. So I appreciate you. And as always, remember the shows of Pinstripe Chronicles Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 10 a.m. live. And you always have a reserved seat right here on the upper deck every week, Sunday at 11. Let's go, Yankees!
Let's go.